So hello my dear friends, welcome back. Welcome to your channel Cooking Astrology. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for subscribing my channel and liking my videos. Thanks a lot. So let's continue our journey, our discussion of money and wealth for all 12 ascendants in Vedic astrology. And we have already covered up till the Virgo ascendant. And in this particular video, let's try to understand Libra ascendant. Now this video which I'm making, it's a part of the money and wealth series which you can find in the playlist section of my YouTube channel. Also the video which I'm making, this is the video just for the learning purpose. So if you are just like me, Vedic astrology enthusiast, if you are in the field of Jyotish, so this video is going to be very helpful for you. First of all, I'm going to describe you the content which I'm going to cover up in this particular video. So the very first thing we are going to be discussing with regards to the money and wealth houses, that is the 11th, 12th and the 2nd house. Next we are going to discuss regarding 5th, 7th and the 9th house, these houses, and how these houses are acting as a supporting structure to the money and wealth houses. Next we are going to be discussing with regards to the Rahu and Ketu axis, like how Rahu and Ketu have the capacity to create influence in the Laxmi yogas, in the RajYogas, or what this Rahu and Ketu axis is actually going to do. Then we are going to be discussing the Gati of Graha or the Gati of planets. Now this is one of the most interesting topics, okay. I've already made one live session of Gati of planet. If you don't know what is Gati, Gati simply means the speed of a planet, okay. So there are certain fast moving planets and there are certain slow moving planets in Vedic astrology. So what is happening when the slow moving planets are forming some connection with money and wealth, and what is happening when the fast moving grahas are forming the connection, and how then the slow and fast moving planets, they create impact over the earning part, expense, even your investments and the savings part. So we will discuss that part. Lastly, we will look into the retrograde and the combust planets also, like what is the impact of retrograde and the combust energies. And lastly, this is the most important thing, that is the timings. So the timings when you are actually going to be receiving your $1 million into your bank account. Now first of all, if you are little bit familiar with Vedic astrology, you see the chart up there, it's a Vedic astrological chart, okay, it's a North Indian style chart. You see the boxes are there and the numbers which are written up there. So this 7th number which is written in the first box or the first house, it shows you are a Libra ascendant, okay. So even if you want to get confirmation by just looking into your chart, simply pay attention towards this house, okay. There are total 12 houses and 12 zodiac signs. So these are the houses: first house, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. So these are the 12 houses. And the numbers which are written up there, these are the zodiac signs. So the 7th number which is written, 7 mean Libra, okay. So we are particularly discussing the Libra ascendant here, okay, only Libra people. Now first of all, let's try to understand these houses: 11th house, 12th house and 2nd house. This is the 11th house where the 5 Rashi or the number is written. It's ruled by planet Sun. Now next is the 12th house where Mercury is posited in Virgo, and last is the 2nd house where the 8th number is written and it's ruled by Mars. Now these are the money and wealth houses: 11th, 12th and the 2nd house. Now first of all, let's try to understand these houses, okay, what they signifies. This one, 11th house in Vedic astrology is the house of your incoming gains, okay. So whatever the money that you are going to be receiving on the monthly or daily basis is seen through 11th house. 11th house also represents your earning potential, like whether you have the capacity to earn 100,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million or even $1 billion. That is also seen through the 11th house. And 11th house also represents your income sources. Like if you want to see whether you have the capacity to have more than one income stream in your life or not, or what are these income sources, 11th house is going to give us the answer. So this is one of the most important houses in Vedic astrology. And planet Sun that is the ruler of 11th house, is actually becoming a key planet in your horoscope. Next is the 12th house. 12th house is the house of your expenses. Whatever your monthly, your daily expenses, it's seen through 12th house. And 12th house also the house of investments. Like if you want to see what kind of investments that are going to be good as per my chart, so 12th house is going to give us the answer. Whether investment into the field of real estate, share market, stock market, even in metals also, gemstones also, gold as well, having the fixed deposits. So we need to check that part from the 12th house. And last is the second house, that is the savings account. Now savings simply mean where you are saving your money, okay? Second house not only represents your wealth, second house also represents the combined wealth. Now when I say combined wealth, second house is also the house of a family. So this represents the combined or the cumulative wealth aspect of one family. It may be, suppose you born and brought up into some business kind of a family, and maybe your family is in the business of transportation, restaurant, or maybe astrology. So what is the combined wealth that is seen through the second house? One more interesting thing I would like to add on here, the wealth which is signified by 12th house, second house, is also depending over your 5th house actually. 5th house in Vedic astrology represents your Purva Punya Bhav, okay, past life deeds. So whatever the good and bad deeds that you have performed in your past lives, so what is the combined result which you are going to be experiencing in this life is seen through 5th house. So second house is not fully in your hand to gain control over, okay? Like it's not in your hand to first of all decide whether I'm going to take birth in a rich family or a poor family. So it's not in your hand. Family assets are not in your hand actually, because you have no capacity to decide who is going to become my father, who is going to become my mother. So this is a drid karma. Drid mean fixed karma. Like you have no capacity to change your parents, even your siblings. So second house represents that wealth aspect of a native. It also shows which kind of a family you are coming through. What is your lineage? So that is seen through the second house, okay? So I hope you understand this 11th, 12th and second house. Now understand one very important thing here. As I told you, 11th house Lord Sun is the key planet in your chart. Now whenever planet Sun is first of all forming any connection with Mars in the horoscope, because Mars is the wealth lord, and it's not necessarily Mars and Saturn are only posited in this house. It may be Mars is going up there, or it's maybe Saturn and Mars are posited up there. Sorry, Sun and Mars are present up there. We will take Saturn also, don't worry. So this is Sun and Mars. Now first of all, the very first Laxmi yoga which is created is by only these houses, specifically the 11th house and the second house. So in your horoscope, if the Sun and Mars are actually getting conjunct, or they are forming any sort of yoga with one another, this is one of the biggest Laxmi yogas which are actually present in your chart. Laxmi simply means the goddess of wealth. Prosperity you can also consider. Second important thing, there is also going to be a levels to these yogas. Maybe one person born with Saturn and Mars conjunction in this house, whereas the second person born with Saturn, Sun and Mars conjunction in this house, and maybe the next person is born with Sun and Mars in the 8th house. Now this is again a yoga, very good yoga. This is also Laxmi yoga, and that is also Laxmi yoga. But here you need to understand one very important thing. There are levels to these yogas. The very first thing which you need to check whenever you are analyzing any Laxmi or any money and wealth giving yoga, that yoga must need to be first of all forming in the money and wealth houses itself. So if the yoga is formed in the 11th house or in the second house, this is actually going to be considered as the highest level of yoga. Then comes the secondary level of the yoga, where the yoga is forming into the quadrant houses. These are the quadrant 1, 4, 7 and 10. Or even if the yoga is forming into the trine houses. 5th and 9th, these are the trine houses. And there is third level to the yoga where the yoga is forming in the 6, 8, maybe 12 or even in the third house. So I hope you first of all understand the level of the Raj Yogas as well. And it's very, very important. These two houses, as I told you, it's not only 11th and 2nd house Lord is forming the connection with one another. This is also the key planet, Mercury. Now, first of all, understand one very important thing. 12th house is the house of your expenses, okay? And this is also the house of investments. So Mercury is going to be the key planet if you want to analyze your expenses or your investments. Now, suppose Mars is posited with Mercury, or suppose this Mercury is posited with Mars. Now here what is happening? Expense Lord is forming connection with the savings Lord. So whenever the expense and savings Lord, they are conjunct with one another, it clearly shows your chart is not permitting you to save huge amount of money. So it means it's not a savings oriented chart. Whenever the 12th house Lord either forming connection with the 2nd or even with the 11th house Lord, this is known as investment yoga. Suppose this is your 11th house and Sun is with the Mercury up there. So Mercury is the expense Lord. Now when the expense Lord forming connection with the incoming gains Lord, it's not a savings oriented chart. Similarly with the savings Lord Mars as well. This combination of Mars and Mercury, even though it's falling in the 2nd house, it's not giving you permission to hoard or accumulate wealth into your life, because this is a pure investment yoga. So you need to understand one very important thing here. If in your horoscope, planet Mars and Mercury, they are forming connection anywhere in the chart, this is the investment yoga. So you need to focus more energy towards investing money rather than the saving money. Next important point, for Libra Ascendant, Venus is actually becoming the key planet for you, because this is the Ascendant Lord and Venus is naturally the significator of a wealth in Vedic astrology. So you cannot ignore this planet. Okay, although Venus is not gaining access in your Libra Ascendant, it's not gaining control over the money and wealth houses. But it's not necessary if Venus is not gaining the access to the money and wealth houses. Venus don't have the capacity to contribute in the wealth, because Venus naturally signifies wealth of a native. So whenever Venus forming any trine connection, I will write it here, trine, Trine. This is a special case for Libra people. Now what is trine connection? Whenever Venus is going 5 and 9 places away from 11th house Lord, 12th house Lord and even the 2nd house Lord, this is forming that trine connection. For example, your Venus is up there in the 1st house and Mercury is in the 9th house. So this is a trine connection. Now in case of a trine connection, this is still forming a connectivity. Here don't look into it, they are not forming the conjunction and even the aspect of the Venus is not falling over the Mercury, no. Still, if the Venus, and even if, look at Saturn here, it's also coming in the trine, it's going 5 places away, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So whenever 5 and 9 places away, 5 and 9 places away, Venus goes either from these or from these houses, this is still considered as a Laxmi Yoga. So I hope this part is clear to you. 11th, 12th and 2nd house. Now let me come to the 5th house, 7th house and 9th house and how these houses are contributing to the money and wealth houses. So this is the 5th house, it's 7th house and it's the 9th house. In your case, 5th house is ruled by Shani, Saturn. Now Saturn is also becoming the Yog Karak Graha. Yog Karak simply mean Saturn is gaining excess of one quadrant and one trine house. So whenever the quadrant and trine house is ruled by one single planet, that graha or that planet is acting as a Yog-Karak planet. Yog-Karak planet simply means that planet is free from any afflictions. Like there is no any mildness present inside this graha. Okay, mildness means there is no any, although it's a malefic graha, but by becoming Yog-Karak planet, it becomes very difficult for Saturn to even give negative results for you people. Even if your Shani is debilitated here in the sign of Aries, still it becomes very difficult for Shani to give negative result, because this is a Yog-Karak graha for Libra. So Shani must need to abide by the rules and regulations of Venus in this case. And Venus, Saturn and Mercury, they are very best friends. Okay. Next is the 7th house, that is ruled by planet Mars, and next is the 9th house. Now 5th, 7th and 9th house are responsible for activation of RajYogas and activation of money and wealth yogas into your life. Now activation of a RajYoga is a very separate topic. I've already made a video up there, but still I will give you a small hint up there. Activation of a RajYoga is mainly getting activated by two prime methods. First is the house activation and second is the event activation. House activation simply mean the maturity of the age of the planet have the capacity to actually create that event into your life. Like Saturn matured at the age of 36, Mars matured at the age of 28, and Mercury matured at the age of 32. Irrespective of wherever these planets are present in your horoscope, the age of 28, 32 and 36, these ages are actually becoming the activation RajYogas, where you have the capacity to receive sudden wealth into your life. And the second activation of RajYoga is connected with the event fructification. Event simply mean 5th house is the house of a children in Vedic astrology. As soon as the childbirth is born, your 5th house is becoming activated. So it simply means if the 5th house is becoming activated, so Saturn is becoming activated, irrespective of wherever it's positioned in the chart. So this actually have the capacity to give more results after obtaining children into your life. 7th house is the house of marriage. It means Mars is getting activated. Now Mars is also connected with land, real estate and property. Buying a home, property and these kind of things, it's seen through Mars. So if the Mars is also going to be positioned in some money and wealth connections, I will discuss that part. So event of marriage also have the capacity to bring wealth into Libra people. And last is the 9th house. This is the house of your bhagya, fortune. Fortune simply means your luck factor. Okay, luck factor, you understand. Fortunate events or some lucky movements that you are attracting. And 9th house activation depend over the travel also. Specifically the long distance travel and the long distance journey. So traveling also have the capacity to activate your bhagya, that is the fortune. Okay. Now look here. Whenever Saturn, Mars or Mercury, these houses lords, they are forming any connection with the upper houses, 11th, 12th and 2nd. This is again considered as a very good Laxmi Yoga. It means these houses are acting as a supporting structure to the upper houses. For example, Saturn is positioned with Mars up there. Now, although Mars is in the inimical zodiac sign, in the sign of Aquarius, but still Saturn and Mars, if it is positioned anywhere in the chart, it's considered as a Laxmi Yoga. And it's not necessary the yoga is only forming between the conjunction of two graha or three graha. There are highly likely possibilities the mutual aspect between two planets, depending over the strength of that mutual aspect, also have the capacity to activate certain RajYogas into your life. Like for example, you are having suppose Mars present up there. Now Mars and Saturn, they are mutually aspecting, that is again considered as a Laxmi Yoga. even whenever Saturn forming any connection with Venus in the trine or anywhere in the chart, suppose you are having Saturn and Venus conjunct up there, it's also one of the greatest prosperity yogas which are actually present in your chart. Although this yoga might have the capacity to create certain problems with regards to children, with regards to family, but from the money and wealth standpoint of view, Saturn and Venus for Libra people is going to be the greatest blessings from the sky. You can also add up Mercury up there, because Mercury is also the 12th house lord. So 12th house is expenses and investment also. So whenever Saturn, Venus, Mercury, they are conjunct, it's considered as one of the most auspicious yogas. Even for example, Mercury is in conjunction with Venus. Now Mercury is your 9th house lord, and I told you trine connection forming between the graha is also considered as a conjunction between these two planets. So it means as soon as this native is getting married with Venus and Mercury, Venus is activated, but at the same time Mercury is also getting activated. So this Venus and Mercury conjunction represents the speculation and the speculative gains. So the event of marriage is also going to activate speculation into your life. It means you are going to be gaining money through share market and even the stock market at the same time. Apart from this thing, even for example, Sun is present up there. Now Sun is this lord, 11th house lord. I told you Sun is the key planet for you people. Now even though Mars and Saturn in the 7th house in the sign of Aries, it's forming a Angarak yoga. Angarak means there is a lot of heat present inside this conjunction. And this actually have the capacity to destroy the marriage aspect of a native. Specifically for Libra Ascendant, if you are having two fire planets present up there in the overheat, this is creating excess heat actually. Now this conjunction might have the capacity to create a negative aspect, specifically in the marriage. This can also create the combinations of multiple marriages. This can also create many health related issues inside a native. But at the same time, this is a Laxmi yoga. Now many of you ask me like why we are only discussing with regards to the money and wealth only, and why we are not taking into aspect other negative factors, because we are only covering the money and wealth part here. So this is the blessings from the sky if you are having Mars, and it's not necessarily in this house. It may be your Sun is present up there and then Mars is in conjunction. Now although in both houses, Sun and Mars in Sagittarius and in the sign of Aries, what is happening? They both are Angarak yoga, but house placement is different. And that is where results are going to be totally different for both of these natives. Both of them, they are going to enjoy from the real estate. They are going to like consider real estate as your maybe primary, secondary or tertiary income source. But in both the cases, in this case the event of marriage and in case the event of siblings is somewhat getting destroyed in your chart. Apart from this thing, next is the Rahu and Ketu axis. Now this is a very interesting thing, like how the Rahu and Ketu axis is acting as a catalyst. Now what is a catalyst? If you are a chemistry student, you know the use of a catalyst is to speed up the chemical reaction. Okay, speed up the chemical reaction. So whenever this Rahu and Ketu axis, they are first of all forming connection with these houses lords. They have the capacity to create Laxmi yoga, and at the same time they also have the capacity to create tenfold Raj yogas. For example, you are having Saturn present in the 5th house along with planet Venus. Suppose it may be anywhere in the chart, Saturn Venus conjunction, and suppose I add up Rahu, Now, as soon as Rahu is adding into this conjunction, what is happening? This is creating the multiplication factor. These houses are creating the addition factor, but whenever Rahu Ketu axis go, they create multiplication factor. Addition factor simply means, suppose you are having 10,000 US dollars, then you are going to be adding up maybe $200. So that is adding up. In case of for multiplication, you just need to multiply the 10,000 US dollar with $200. So you see the intensity of yoga is getting amplified. So Rahu and Ketu, they actually have the capacity to form big wealth combinations. Whenever we are trying to study the charts of a millionaire or a billionaire or even a trillionaire, you need to take Rahu and Ketu axis into your consideration along with these houses. Because it's not possible for these planets, 7 planets in Vedic astrology, to give extra wealth, like beyond the imagination or capability of a person. But whenever the Rahu and Ketu axis goes, they acting as a catalyst and they speed up the chemical reaction. I will give you one more example. Suppose your Venus is with Rahu in the Lagna. Although this might going to be creating many addiction problems, obsessiveness inside a person, or this can also create sometime very bad love experiences with the opposite sex, but still this actually have the capacity to give you wealth beyond your imagination, because here the wealth load is getting the influence of Rahu. Similarly, suppose you are having Mercury, Saturn and Venus conjunction in the chart, and it's not necessarily only in 10th house, anywhere in the chart. We are taking 5th house into consideration, that is Saturn. We are also taking Mars, 7th and the 2nd house lord into consideration, and we are also taking Mercury into our consideration. Now suppose I add up Rahu up there. Now as soon as the element of Rahu is adding into this conjunction, this is the amplification. It's like you are seeing something with the microscopic eye and you are zooming it 10x, 100x. So Rahu represents that unlimited zooming capacity, like where you are constantly zooming. So this actually have the capacity to exaggerate everything. Now in this case particularly, RajYogas are not only created by Rahu. Ketu also have the capacity to create influence in the yogas. For example, suppose your 8th house lord is Venus, and your Venus is in conjunction with Ketu. It may be Mercury with Ketu, it may be Mars with Ketu, it may be Sun with Ketu. Mars Ketu, Venus Ketu. Now understand one thing here. Ketu with Mars and even Venus, they actually have the capacity to bring immense sufferings into your life. Immense suffering. But at the same time, the more and more you are going to suffer, the more and more money and wealth that you are going to be receiving into your life. Because Rahu and Ketu, they are acting as the biggest catalyst in your chart. Next is the Gati of planets. Now Gati simply means the speed of a graha. And as I told you, there are certain slow moving planets in Vedic astrology and there are certain fast moving planets. Look here, Saturn, Rahu and Ketu axis, and Jupiter. These 4 planets in Vedic astrology are slow moving graha, because Saturn will take near about 2.5 to 3 years to complete one zodiac sign. Rahu and Ketu axis will take 1.5 years, and Jupiter is going to be taking 1 year in one particular zodiac sign in the transit. So suppose you are having Jupiter anywhere in the chart. Suppose Jupiter is posited in Capricorn, debilitated in your horoscope. Now, if Jupiter stays in one zodiac sign for 1 year, and there are total 12 zodiac signs, it means Jupiter will take 12 years to come back to the same zodiac sign. Okay, so these are the slow moving planets. Rest all the other planets, whether it's planet Moon, whether it's planet Mercury, even planet Sun, even planet Mars, even Venus also, they all are fast moving planets. Because even Sun stays in one zodiac sign for 1 month, Moon stays in one zodiac sign for 2.5 days, 2.5 days. Mars, Venus also around 2-3 months sometime. Okay. So understand one very important thing here. How Gati or the speed of the planet have the capacity to influence the money and wealth part. For example, look into your 11th house once again, because this is the house of your incoming gains. First of all, your earning potential. Now Sun is a fast moving planet. If you are having Sun posited up there, it's a fast moving graha. It simply means Sun in your chart actually have the capacity to bring money and wealth into your life on much rapid basis. Speed of incoming gains is going to be very, very fast. Similarly, your 12th house is ruled by Mercury. It means your expense speed is also going to be very fast. And your savings lord is Mars. So for Libra people, 11th, 12th and 2nd house, they are ruled by the fast moving planets. Now that is also becoming a specialty of Libra. Maybe for any other ascendant like Sagittarius, maybe any other ascendants where these houses are ruled by Jupiter, maybe Saturn. So they are not having that specialty of earning money fast basis, spending money on fast basis, and even saving money on the fast basis. This is a specialty for Libra people. It means you have the easy capability to gain access to money. It's because of your ascendant lord, because Venus have given the position to these planets. That is the reason Venus is the queen. This is the Guru Shukracharya, or this is the wealth aspect of a native. So Venus in its own ascendant, specifically for Libra, Venus have given the blessings to earn money on much easier and the fast basis. Now for example, Saturn is forming connection with your incoming gain lord, and it's not necessarily only in this house, anywhere in the chart. Sun and Saturn conjunction. It may be you are having Sun up there and Saturn is coming in this house. Now what is happening whenever the incoming gain lord is gaining conjunction with the Saturn? This actually have the capacity to slow down the response. It's actually slowing down the things into your life. So your increase, so the speed which is increasing is actually getting reduced because of the Saturn. Similarly, suppose you are having Mars with Saturn, your savings speed is also getting reduced up to very large extent. You can take any one example. Maybe you are having Mars with the Ketu. Now Mars is a planet which is a very fast moving graha, but it's in connection with Ketu. And Ketu is a slow moving planet. So that have the capacity to create slowness into the wealth aspect of a native. Similarly, Venus Rahu. It may be Jupiter is in forming connection with Mercury in this house. Now what is happening? Mercury is your expense lord. And Mercury is going to do expenditure on much rapid basis. But if it is in conjunction with debilitated Jupiter, it's a slow moving graha. So this have the capacity to slow down the rate of sometime earning, expense, even your investment and savings. Next, let's try to understand the concept of a retrograde energy. Now what is retrograde first of all? in the simplest explanation, retrograde planets simply mean you are evolving around a loop or in a circle. Or in the more simpler manner, whenever you are committing similar kind of mistakes again and again and again into your life, this is represented by the retrograde energy. Suppose you commit one financial mistake in the year 2015 and you file for bankruptcy by committing one financial mistake. And after 10 years in the year 2025, in which I am filming this video, you again commit the same mistake. So the commitment of similar kind of mistakes again and again is known as retrogression. Retrograde is also the planet that is helping you to create mastery over something. So if, for example, one person who is having Venus and Mercury conjunction in the Lagna, and they are simple, like not retrograde, and the second person is having the Venus and Mercury retrograde. Now what is the difference here? It means the person with normal Venus and Mercury, that person need to put some hard work to achieve something. The person with retrograde energy need to put 5 times extra hard work to achieve the same thing into his or her life. So retrograde energy, simply they are going to be adding up or they are piling up. Suppose one person with the Saturn, Venus and Rahu, I will remove Rahu because Rahu and Ketu axis, they are always retrograde. We are not discussing Rahu Ketu, we are only discussing the other 5 planets. Because Sun and Moon, they don't went retrograde. So it means only 5 planets we are discussing here. Okay. For example, you are having Saturn and Venus conjunction in your chart. For example, your Saturn is retrograde. Now the person with Saturn and Venus normal and the Saturn and Venus retrograde, the only difference is like that. The person with normal Saturn and Venus might take 2 years to achieve something, but the person with retrograde Saturn and Venus need to take 4 years, double the time to achieve the same level of results. You can also take the example of a Rahu and Ketu axis in this case. For example, you are having Saturn and Rahu conjunction. This is the first person, suppose, anywhere in the chart. And the second person is having Saturn also retrograde and Rahu also retrograde. Now, whenever the 2 retrograde energies are combining, specifically Rahu and Ketu axis, because they are always retrograde, they are always moving in the backward motion. So whenever the backward motion of the Rahu and Ketu axis, it's going to be sticking with any 5 planets. It may be with Saturn, it may be with Mercury. This is also going to intensify the level of sufferings inside this person's life. Because understand one very important thing here, the main aim of a retrograde energy is they are striving towards perfection. So the main word here is perfection. And until and unless you are not fully perfect, retrograde planet, they will not easily going to hand over you these kind of results into your life. So I hope you understand what is retrograde. The remedy for retrograde planet is by gaining knowledge only. Gaining knowledge is the remedy for retrograde graha. Gaining knowledge, and second is the self-introspection part. Like rather than jumping from one critical thing to the next, to the next, to the next all the time, you need to sit back, relax and look backward. You need to focus or reflect over the past life mistakes which you have committed into your life. And self-introspection and gaining knowledge is the remedy for retrograde planets in Vedic astrology. Okay. Next, let's try to understand the combust planet. Now, planets are getting combust in Vedic astrology whenever they are in close proximity with planet Surya or planet Sun. For example, let me add Sun up there. Sun, Venus, Mercury conjunction. Or it may be Sun and Mercury. Where Mercury is combust, it may be Venus is also combust, Mercury is also combust. First of all, the combustion of a planet is not going to destroy the significance of that graha. So if, for example, Venus is retrograde for Libra Ascendant, it's not like that your wealth aspect is getting destroyed. No. Significance of the planet is not getting destroyed, whether it's a malefic or it's a benefic graha, whenever they are combust in the chart. The simple meaning of the combustion is only like that we will not be able to perform any auspicious ceremonies or auspicious things during that time frame when the planet is actually combust. Suppose you are having Mars combust in the horoscope in this house, and it's in conjunction with Sun also, or maybe Sun is in next or previous house. Now, what is happening if this Mars is combust? Mars is your marriage lord actually. 7th house, marriage and the married life aspect. And Mars is also your 2nd house lord, wealth lord. Now, for example, if the Mars is getting conjunct with Surya, Sun, and they are in very close degrees, and the Mars is getting combust in the chart, it's not like that Mars is losing its significance. Mars in the very mundane language represents land, real estate and property related matters. So the person with combust Mars, or even the person who is having Mars which is not combust, it's not like that combust Mars is going to be losing its significance. It's simply like that you need to actually take transit into your consideration. Transit means the gochar of a graha, because planets are always moving, they are not stationary. So you need to take gochar into your consideration at the time of making some big decisions, maybe with regards to buying a property, land, marriage or any other big decisions. So combustion simply mean the positive rays of that graha is not entering inside the universe. And specifically only Jupiter and Venus combustion have the capacity to create major impact in the chart. Whereas other combustion of the planet is not going to create much impact in Vedic astrology, specifically from money and wealth standpoint of view. Okay. And lastly, let's try to understand the timings part. Now, timings is the most important concept. Timings for receiving the money and wealth into your life. I'm going to give you one thumb rule here. And this is the thumb rule which you need to apply for understanding the actual timings when you are going to be receiving money and wealth into your life. Okay. I hope you are familiar with Vimshotri Mahadashas and the Antardasha. Vimshotri Mahadasha and Antardasha simply represents the planetary timings. Although in Vedic astrology there are more than 30-40 different set of dashas which are applicable in Vedic astrology. Dasha simply means suppose a human being is living for 0 to 90 years of age, or maybe 80 years. Suppose this is the lifespan of a native. So there are highly likely chances you are going through maybe some set of dashas in between. It may be 19 years of Saturn, 16 years of Jupiter, 18 years of Rahu, 10 years of your moon. Okay. So these are the dashas. And the reason why I'm only taking Vimshotri Mahadasha into our consideration, because it's applicable to 95% of the charts. And this is one of the most precise and accurate dashas in Vedic astrology. In my personal experiences also, even sage Rishi Parashara, according to him, Vimshotri Mahadasha is one of the most prominent dashas. There are other dashas also, Uddu Dasha, Chara Dasha, Dvisapstiti Samdasha, Yogini Dashas also. They are also going to play a very important role. But you need to take Vimshotri Mahadasha into your consideration. And in that main Mahadasha of maybe 16 years of Jupiter, there are Antardasha. and Antardasha is the key planet here. This is the key planet. Now you simply what you need to do, you need to look your Antardasha Lord and just try to club with the transit. I will give you one example too, so that you can understand that point very well. For example, suppose your Venus is posited in the sign of Libra along with Saturn. Okay. Now, first of all, try to understand the gochar or transit. So, whenever either Venus or Saturn, they are from the transit point of view, they are transiting over the same zodiac sign. And the same planet is also coming into the Antardasha also. This is the exact time when that result is going to be fructified into your life. For example, you are right now going through Mars Antardasha. And your Mars is posited in the 10th house in the sign of Cancer. And suppose in the transit or in the gochar, Mars is now transiting over the natal Mars, specifically from your 10th house. This is the exact time frame when the money and wealth yogas are actually getting activated in your life. It's applicable to all other grahas also. Suppose you are going through Mercury Mahadasha and your Mercury is posited in the 4th house along with Rahu. So whenever in the gochar or in the transit, the Mercury, you are running the Antardasha of that planet, and in the gochar the same planet is hitting that time frame. That is the exact time frame where the results are going to be happening. Although the timings is also a very detailed concept, because here we also need to understand how to study Dasha in Vedic astrology. Many of you don't know how to study Vimshotri Mahadasha, Antardasha and then Priyantardasha also. So we will take a separate video over the timings part. Actually, this is a part of predictive astrology. Okay, I have made very few videos in my YouTube channel of predictive astrology. But in the upcoming days, I'm going to make more videos over the predictive astrology side specifically. Because predictive astrology is the technique where you will eventually going to be learning the event part. When particular event of marriage, job change, foreign travel, or when the events are happening, it's actually going to be studied using the timing. So predictive astrology is the core concept or the core part of Vedic astrology, which I'm going to teach you in the upcoming videos also in the Dasha and Antardasha part. Okay. So this is the analysis for Libra Ascendant people, and I hope you have gained some deep insights in this video with me. If you are having any queries and any consultations, you can please contact me at my email ID. If you require the detailed money and wealth analysis of your horoscope, any other business, marriage, or even spiritual consultation, do let me know. Also, even if you find a small help from this particular video, you can also tip me the super thanks by just clicking the super thanks button below the description section of this video. Because any small contribution from your side will also help me, or actually going to make me more motivated to create more such wonderful videos over the YouTube platform. Also, you can re-listen and watch this video 2 and even 3 times and try to apply the concepts which I have taught you. Okay, because this is the complete money and wealth picture. It's not anywhere you need to go just to study that part. Okay. And also, if you want to suggest me some improvement, some questions, mention below the comments. Okay. And thank you so much for giving me this platform, these opportunities again and again for serving you wonderful people. Okay. You can also make sure to subscribe my channel below and hit the like button if you really enjoyed this video. You can also share my YouTube channel with your friends and family members who are in love with Vedic astrology. And I'm going to meet you very, very soon in the next video with Scorpio Ascendant and many other videos of Vedic astrology. Till then, please take care of yourself and may God bless you. Hare Krishna.